And so where Optimum Retailing comes in, which is a really kind of fun application that we've done, is we can pick up through the antennas, the RFID antennas, everything that's in the front of the store. And we can do the same thing in the back of the store, in the where the inventory is stored. And so with our platform, we know what should be in the front, what should be on display, whether it's signage, whether it's products, whether it's maybe a device or a dummy phone that's used for display purposes. So we can monitor that.
Certainly over the last couple of years and few years, I think we've been living in a world where more and more people kind of assume technology can do anything, right? Yeah. And, there have been some unbelievable advancements, but it turns out that it's usually not as simple to deploy. So, one of my questions for you is your partners, your clients, the retailers, the people that you're working with, what are their assumptions about what technology should be able to do for them? And how has that been changing over the couple of years? Like, do they come up to you and they're like, well, of course, it's super easy to, use the security camera in the store to instantly get all the information we need? Or do they just have no idea? Like, what's been changing?
It's such a good question. And you worded it in a good way that made it complicated. If you worded it a different way, I would have had a quick response.
I'll pretend I did that on purpose.
The quick response usually is, do customers or clients expect technology to solve all problems? And the quick answer to that is yes. And the reality, of course, is no. Right. It's a mix. It's really, really mixed. So brick and mortar retail today is still very much an interaction between humans, right? It is an experience. We do want to talk to somebody. We do want feedback. We want somebody, for buying clothing, to compliment us that it looks good. And it does vary by people's own personal preference, but it is a factor in terms of how retail works today. I think the use of technology, the way we see it, is that we do not want to replace or take away the human aspect. But my vision or my dream has always been to kind of see the bridge between what happens online, I feel can almost happen not quite as fast in real time in brick and mortar. So what I mean by that is if I go onto a website and I'm browsing up, like looking for measuring tapes, and I'm on a Home Depot, one of those sites, I'm going to be fed a variety of content and ads related to measuring tapes and different options, and I have lots of choices, etc. From that point on, I find it, so it allows me to be informed. I can quickly research, I can find, and then I can make my purchase. In a lot of ways, I also think brick and mortar can be, so if we understand at the store level who our customer is, if we understand if between 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock, we tend to get people to come in who buy these kind of products. And then from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we often see people buying these other products, that we can almost curate the store and even change the marketing, etc., to kind of align with what the consumers are looking for. I'll give an example. We did a test with one of our clients because they were trying to increase traffic into their stores, not conversion. So they weren't trying to sell. They were trying to increase foot traffic into the stores in the mornings. And so what we identified is we noticed that there's a lot of elderly people that were walking the malls in the winter to get exercise. And so we said, well, instead of playing that iPhone, whatever it was back then, commercial on your digital signage and also in your print signage, let's change that marketing to say, come in and learn how to Skype with your grandchild.
Yep.
Okay. So the idea really was all we wanted to do is get traffic to come in. Our client did not care if they were with another carrier or not. What they just wanted to do is have that engagement with those customers or potential customers as they came through. So this is the idea really where, we talk about cookies when you go to a website and, it kind of follows you. But this is the kind of insights that can be used. And this kind of goes back to the full circle where in our platform, where we started looking at floor plans and fixtures, and then we added the marketing and we added the products in the store. But then we started to say, well, give us some insights, inventory, give us some insights on your sales. And now we do a lot of work on understanding who the customer is, what transactions happen in the morning versus the afternoon versus the evening, and then tying that together And now with computers and AI and a lot of the tools that we have, we can start predicting what products are going to sell when. We can start
Got it.
predicting how to feed that forward. So this idea that
That's the holy
the
grail.
technology is used not really as who I'm going to interact with. I don't want to buy my new sweater from a computer. But what I'd like to do when I walk into the store is I'd actually like to see the sweater that I'm most likely to buy, right? And the color I'm looking for, etc. That's relevant to me. And that's, I
I
think, really the power there.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Well, this is really interesting. I want to ask you about kind of one more area of data and the application of technology. Right
Yeah.
before we started recording, we were talking about what sounded to me like a little bit of the resurgence of physical inventory tracking and RFIDs. Like, what's going on there? Because I look, like I walk into a store all the time where they're supposed to have inventory of something, it's not where it's supposed to be. And if they can't even if they can't even keep track of what's in the store, right, to a 4 nines level of accuracy, I can't imagine they know a lot about what's going on in the store. So what's going on in terms of helping stores keep track of their physical inventory, and what can they do with that information?
Yeah, no, it's funny. We were talking about that casually before. And, it's probably one of the most exciting things for me lately in terms of technology. But oddly enough, RFID technology is not new. It's been around for years, probably 20 years or so. And I just love the fact that there seems to be a new interest. Walmart was really instrumental in kind of bringing that technology forward about 20 years ago. Their vision of how it's going to be used was, like, how do we know if a product is on the floor? How do we know if that product is missing from the floor? And, how do we track our inventory as it comes in, right? People were back then were talking about just in time inventory and, minimizing how much was stored in the back of the stores. And so when we started seeing apparel companies implementing RFID, and Uniqlo, if anybody's been there recently, they have nailed it. So that you walk in there and you buy, 10 t-shirts and some underwear and socks, and you got your big bag, and before they used to have to scan it one at a time. Now you just take all that stuff, you put it in a bin, and instantaneously you see your full bill of what you need to
That is
pay.
so how it should be. That is
Oh my
so
God. Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it great?
I didn't even
Exactly.
realize that it annoyed me that it wasn't like that until you said
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, right? But that's where, again, the application. So, that really is on the consumer side. But from our perspective, and this is a story, another quick story that we had is one of our largest clients, we managed about 11,000 stores for them. And they said to us, we love the platform. It's really been instrumental in helping us plan better. It's really been instrumental in us being able to localize our marketing better. It's been fantastic because we get to know when we launch a campaign, which stores are compliant, which stores aren't. But he goes, the one thing that we still run into is if I walk into a store 2 to 3 weeks after a campaign is launched, it looks horrible. Goes back to your use case where you talked about, anything not near HQ is not going to look great. And that is true. And it's not necessary because the stores are lazy. I mean, people kind of came in and shopped the store and maybe inventory hasn't been replenished, whatever the case. But it's this ability to kind of monitor what is on the floor and what should be on the floor. And so where Optimum Retailing comes in, which is a really kind of fun application that we've done, is we can pick up through the antennas, the RFID antennas, everything that's in the front of the store, and we can do the same thing in the back of the store, in the where the inventory is stored. And so with our platform, we know what should be in the front, what should be on display, whether it's signage, whether it's products, whether it's maybe a device or a dummy phone that's used for display purposes. So we can monitor that. If we see that there's a product missing, okay, at the end of the day, before, instead of a store associate kind of walking the floor, having to spend a half an hour with their, piece of paper trying to figure out what should go back in that empty spot, our system will generate a list of all the elements that need to go onto the floor, and they will go into the back, bring it to the front, and our system will show them where to put it. Because through the RFID, we can see what is missing, what's not.